ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for all session. Today is November 6th, 2024. Let's recite Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16. Daiva Asura Sampatti Yoga. Sri Bhagavanuvacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhir Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Danam Damascha Yagyascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam Ahimsa Satyam Akrodhas Tyagah Shantir Apaishunam Daya Bhuteshvalo Luptvam Mardavam Hrira Chapalam Tejah Kshama Dhritihi Shaucham अद्रोहो नातिमानिता भवन्ति सम्पदं दैवीम् अभिजातस्य भारत। दम्भो दर्पो मानश्च क्रोधः पारुष्यमेव च अज्ञानं चाभिजातस्य पार्थ सम्पदमासुरीम्। दैवी सम्पद्विमोक्षाय निबन्धायासुरीमता मा शुचः सम्पदं दैवीम् अभिजातोऽसि पाण्डवा। द्वौ भूतसर्गौ लोकेऽस्मिन् दैव आसुर एव च दैवो विस्तरशः प्रोक्ता आसुरं पार्थ मे शृणु। प्रवृत्तिं च निवृत्तिं च जनाना विदुरासुराः न शौचं नापि चाचारो न सत्यं तेषु विद्यते। असत्यम् अप्रतिष्ठं ते जगद आहुर अनीश्वरम् अपरस्पर सम्भूतम् किम् अन्यत् कामहैतुकम्। एतां दृष्टिम् अवष्टभ्य नष्टात्मानोऽल्पबुद्धयः प्रभवन्त्युग्रकर्माणः क्षयाय जगतो हिताः। कामम् आश्रित्य दुष्पूरम् दम्भमानमदान्विताः मोहाद् गृहीत्वा सद्ग्राहान् प्रवर्तन्ते शुचिव्रताः। चिन्ताम् अपरिमेयां च प्रलयान्तामुपाश्रिताः कामोपभोगपरमा एतावद् इति निश्चिताः। आशापाशशतैर्बद्धाः कामक्रोधापरायणाः ईहन्ते कामभोगार्थम् अन्यायेनार्थसञ्चयान्। इदम् अद्य मया लब्धम् इमं प्राप्स्ये मनोरथम् इदम् अस्तीदमपि मे भविष्यति पुनर्धनम्। असौ मया हतः शत्रुर्हनिष्ये चापरानपि ईश्वरोऽहम् अहम् भोगी सिद्धोऽहम् बलवान् सुखी। आढ्योऽभिजनवानस्मि कोऽन्योऽस्ति सदृशो मया यक्ष्ये दास्यामि मोदिष्य इत्यज्ञानविमोहिताः। अनेकचित्तविभ्रान्ता मोहजाला समावृताः प्रसक्ताः कामभोगेषु पतन्ति नरकेषु च आत्मसम्भाविताः स्तब्धा धनमानमदान्विताः यजन्ते नाम यज्ञैस्ते दम्भेनाविधिपूर्वकम् अहङ्कारं बलं दर्पं कामं क्रोधं च संश्रिताः माम् आत्मपरदेहेषु प्रद्विषन्तु सूयकाः तान् अहं द्विषतः क्रूरान् संसारेषु नराधमान् क्षिपाम्यजस्रम् अशुभान् आसुरीष्वेव योनिषु आसुरीं योनिमापन्ना मूढा जन्मनि जन्मनि माम् अप्राप्यैव कौन्तेय ततो यान्त्यधमां गतिम् त्रिविधं नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनमात्मनः कामः क्रोधस्तथा लोभस्तस्मादेतत्त्रयं त्यजेत् एतैर्विमुक्तः कौन्तेय तमो द्वारैस्त्रिभिर्नरः आचरत्यात्मनः श्रेयस्ततो याति परां गतिम् यः शास्त्रविधिमुत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारतः न स सिद्धिम् अवाप्नोति न सुखं न परां गतिम् तस्मात् शास्त्रं प्रमाणं ते कार्याकार्यव्यवस्थितौ ज्ञात्वा शास्त्रविधानोक्तं कर्म कर्तुम् इहार्हसि. Let's read the translations also, in case you're not following the verses. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance, these qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, O son of Pritha. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demoniac qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities. O son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine and the other demoniac. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demoniac. Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness, nor proper behavior, nor truth is found in them. They say that this world is unreal with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. Following such conclusions, the demoniac, who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. Taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demoniac, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect. powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Thus, perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down to hell. Self complacent and always impudent, deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes proudly perform sacrifices in name only without following any rules or regulations. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, and anger, the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the bodies of others, and blaspheme against the real religion. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast into the ocean of material existence, into various demoniac species of life. Attaining repeated birth amongst the species of demoniac life. O son of Kunti, such persons can never approach me. Generally, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. There are three gates leading to this hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul. The man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self realization and thus gradually attains the supreme destination. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Next we'll read Kunti Maharani's prayers from Srimad Bhagavatam. Should we read the translation first and then the recitation, or recitation first and then the translation? Which is better? Huh? Translation first, so you understand, and then when we recite, you'll follow. Okay. So first we'll read the translation from 18. Srimati Kunti said, O Krishna, I offer my obeisances unto you because you are the original personality and are unaffected by the qualities of the material world. You are existing both within and without everything, yet you are invisible to all. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are eternally irreproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. You yourself descend to propagate the transcendental science of devotional service unto the hearts of the advanced transcendentalists and mental speculators. That means bhaktas and gyanis, who are purified by being able to discriminate between matter and spirit. How then can we women know you perfectly? Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who has become the son of Vasudeva, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda, and the other cowherd men of Vrindavan, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. My respectful obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glance is as cool as the lotus, and whose feet are engraved with lotuses. O Rishikesha, master of the senses and lord of lords, you have released your mother Devaki, who was long imprisoned and distressed by the envious king Kamsa, and me and my children from a series of constant dangers. My dear Krishna, Your Lordship has protected us from a poisoned cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from sufferings during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashwathama. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again, so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. My Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty, cannot approach you with sincere feeling. My obeisances are unto you, who are the property of the materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material modes of nature. You are self-satisfied, and therefore you are the most gentle and our master of the monists. My Lord, I consider your Lordship to be eternal time, the supreme controller, without beginning and end, all pervasive one. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. The dissensions between living beings are due to social intercourse. O Lord, no one can understand your transcendental pastimes, which appear to be human and so are misleading. You have no specific object of favor, nor do you have any object of envy. People only imagine that you are partial. Of course, it is bewildering, O soul of the universe, that you work though you are inactive, and that you take birth though you are the vital force and the unborn. You yourself descend amongst animals, men, sages, and aquatics. Verily, this is bewildering. My dear Krishna, Yashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense, and your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara from your eyes. And you were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me. Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and others say that he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills. Others say that since both Vasudeva and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken your birth as their son. Undoubtedly, you are unborn, yet you take your birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of the demigods. Others say that the world, being overburdened like a boat at sea, is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble. And yet others say that you appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping, and so on, in order that the conditioned souls suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. O my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. Are you leaving us today, though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us, now when all kings are at enmity with us? As the as the name and fame of a particular body is finished with the disappearance of the living spirit, similarly, if you do not look upon us, all our fame and activities, along with the Pandavas and Yadus, will end at once. O Gadadhar Krishna, our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful. But when you leave, it will no longer be so. All these cities and villages are flourishing in all respects because the herbs and grains are in abundance. The trees are full of fruits. The rivers are flowing. The hills are full of minerals, and the oceans full of wealth. and this is all due to your glancing over them. O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please, therefore, sever my tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. O Krishna, O friend of Arjun, O chief amongst the descendants of Vrishni, you are the destroyer of those political parties which are disturbing elements on this earth. Your prowess never deteriorates. You are the proprietor of the transcendental abode, and you descend to relieve the distresses of the cows, the brahmanas, and the devotees. You possess all mystic powers, and you are the preceptor of the entire universe. You are the Almighty God, and I offer you my respectful obeisances. So now we will recite the Sanskrit. You also please recite, keeping yourself in mute. From 18. Kunti uvacha namasye purusham tvadyam ishwaram prakrite param alaksyam sarva bhutanam antarbahir avasthitam maya javanikachannam ajnadhokshajam avyayam na lakshyase mudhadrisha nato natyadharo yatha तथा परमहंसानां मुनीनाम् अमलात्मनां भक्तियोगविधानार्थं कथं पश्येम हि स्त्रियः कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रये यथा हृषीकेशखलेन देवकी कंसेन रुद्धाति चिरं शुचार्पिता विमोचिताहं च सहात्मजा विभो त्वयैव नाथेन मुहुर्विपद्गणात् विशान्महाग्ने पुरुषाददर्शनात् असत्सभाया वनवासकृच्छ्रतः मृदे मृदे नेकमहारथास्त्रतो द्रौण्यस्त्रतश्चास्म हरेभिरक्षिताः विपदः सन्तु ताः शश्वत् तत्र तत्र जगद्गुरो भवतो दर्शनं यत् स्यात् अपुनर्भवदर्शनम् जन्मैश्वर्यश्रुतश्रीभिरेदमानामदः पुमान् नैवार्हत्यभिधातुं वै त्वाम् अकिञ्चन गोचरम् नमो किञ्चन वित्ताय निवृत्तगुणवृत्तये आत्मारामाय शान्ताय कैवल्यपतये नमः मन्ये त्वां कालमीशानम् अनादिनिधनं विभुम् समं चरन्तं सर्वत्र भूतानां यन्मितः कलिः न वेद कश्चिद् भगवंश्चिकीर्षितं तवेह मानस्य नृणां विडम्बनं न यस्य कश्चिद् दयितोऽस्ति कर्हिचिद् द्वेष्यश्च यस्मिन् विषमा मतिर्नृणाम् जन्म कर्म च विश्वात्मन् अजस्या कर्तुरात्मनः तिर्यन्निशिशु यादःसु तद् अत्यन्त विडम्बनम् गोप्या ददे त्वयि कृतागसिदाम तावत् याते दशाश्रु कलिलाञ्जन सम्भ्रमाक्षम् वक्त्रं निनीय भयभावनया स्थितस्या सा मां विमोहयति भीरपि यद् बिभेति केचिदाहुरजं जातं पुण्यश्लोकस्य कीर्तये यदो प्रियस्यान्ववाये मलयस्येव चन्दनम् अपरे वसुदेवस्य देवक्यां याचितोऽभ्यगात् अजस्त्वम् अस्य क्षेमाय वधाय चासुरद्विषाम् भारावतारणायान्ये भुवो नाव इवो दधौ सीदन्त्या भूरि भारेण जातो ह्यात्मभुवार्थितः भवेस्मिन् क्लिश्यमानानाम् अविद्याकामकर्मभिः श्रवणस्मरणार्हाणि करिष्यन्निति केचन शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्त्यभीक्ष्णशः स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तवेहितं जनाः त एव पश्यन्त्यचिरेण तावकम् भवप्रवाहो परमं पदाम्बुजम् अप्यद्यनस्त्वं स्वकृते हितप्रभो जिहाससि स्वित्सुहृदोऽनुजीविनः येषां न चान्यद्भवतः पदाम्बुजात् परायणं राजसुयोजितां हसाम् केवयं नाम रूपाभ्यां यदुभिः सह पाण्डवाः भवतो दर्शनं यर्हि ऋषिकाणामिवेशितुः नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यथेदानीं गदाधरा त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणा विलक्षितैः इमे जनपदा स्मृद्धाः सुपक्वौषधि विरुधः वनाद्रिनद्युदन्वन्तो ये दन्ते तव वीक्षितैः अथ विश्वेश्व विश्वात्मन् विश्वमूर्ते स्वकेषु मे स्नेहपाशम् इमं छिन्धि दृढं पाण्डुषु वृष्णिषु त्वयि मे नन्य विषया मतिर्मधुपते सकृत् रतिम् उद्वहता दद्धा गंगे वौघम् उदन्वती श्रीकृष्ण कृष्ण सख वृष्णिऋषभावनिद्रुग राजन्यवंशदहनानपवर्गवीर्या गोविन्द गोद्विजसुरार्तिहरावतारा योगेश्वराखिल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते। जय श्रीमती कुंती महारानी की जय। श्रीमती कुंती महारानी's prayers की जय। Now let's read Srimad Bhagavatam. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 4, The Atrocities of King Kamsa, Text 41. What did we read recently? Do you remember? Kamsa's ministers. Kamsa's ministers are instructing, advising, instructing or advising Kamsa to kill all the babies that are born in the past 10 days, approximately more or less in the past 10 days, and how Kamsa should not fear the demigods because they're so fearful of him, they're so insignificant. Even the greatest, the Lord of the demigods, right? Like the greatest of the demigods, including Lord Vishnu, actually, they're all hiding here and there. But still, you should not neglect the enemy because they have enmity in their hearts towards you. Just as if you neglect a disease, then soon it will become so acute that you won't be able to cure it. Or if you neglect controlling your senses in the beginning, you'll reach a stage where you won't be able to control your senses. In the same way, even though these demigods are insignificant, you should by all means suppress them. You order us, we will go and kill all these babies. We will destroy. Now, what is the connection between going and killing the babies and the demigods? So their enemies are the demigods. The demigods have taken birth, it is said, and actually Kamsa, what did goddess Durga say? That Kamsa's enemy has taken birth somewhere. So that's why they want to kill. Who is that enemy? That is Lord Vishnu. So now what is their strategy? How are they going to proceed? They said the root, the foundation of all the demigods is Lord Vishnu. And what is the foundation of Lord Vishnu? Dharma. Okay? That means Lord Vishnu will stay where there is Dharma. The demigods will flourish when Lord Vishnu is there. If you destroy Lord Vishnu or if you don't give a place to Lord Vishnu to stay, then the demigods will not be able to survive. You can destroy them very easily and you will rule. So what is the plan? Lord Vishnu will stay where there is dharma. Dharma means it is mentioned, where there is charity, where there is yagyas being performed, where there is Brahminical culture. How will Brahminical culture flourish? Brahminical culture will flourish when there are cows. You cannot separate cows from Brahminical culture. So, let's please order us. We will go and kill all the cows. Cows give milk. From milk, you get ghee. And with this ghee, Brahmanas are performing yagya. Yagya means Lord Vishnu. When Lord Vishnu is satisfied, then by this yagya, all the demigods are being nourished. And then they are becoming powerful and you will lose. So what should we do? We should go and kill the Brahminical culture. Destroy all the yagyas. Kill all the cows so that there won't be any yagyas being performed. That's their plan. Text 40. We can just take a look at 40 also. See, 39. The foundation of all the demigods is Lord Vishnu, who lives and is worshipped wherever there are religious principles. Traditional culture, the Vedas, cows, brahmanas, austerities, and sacrifices with proper remuneration. Where these are there, that's where Lord Vishnu lives. Lord Vishnu lives where there is dharma. Religious principles, traditional culture, Vedas, cows, brahmanas, austerities, sacrifices with proper remuneration. O king, we who are your adherents in all respects shall therefore kill the Vedic brahmanas. That means we will stop all this dharma, right? The traditional culture will be destroyed. Traditional dress, traditional language, traditional food, everything will be destroyed. Traditional culture, traditional festivals, everything. Huh? Yeah, Rasapri is saying that's what the British did to India. Actually, that's true. Because uh, simply by ruling the country, they were not able to destroy India as much as they have destroyed us now, later, after independence. We didn't really get any independence in India because even though they left, in fact, you will see right after independence, there was a great, um, you know, propaganda about progressing in life, right? Everyone must be sent to school. Everyone must be educated. But what type of education are you getting? It is not that there was no education before. They destroyed so many gurukulas. There was education going on in every village. They had gurukulas, thousands of gurukulas. That was the culture. How do we know? We know from Chaitanya Leela in Navadvip. It was the place, it was the heart of our learning. It is not that people were uneducated, illiterate, barbarian animals. It's a false myth. It was a false propaganda that was made. That was the center of all learning. But when were they able to destroy? By destroying the culture, the Vedic culture, right? By showing that your practices are primitive, you are living like animals. That's not true, actually. But they made us, when they actually convinced us that this is the way of life, right? Uh, we should all pursue the Western way of life. That is really freedom. That's when we are actually progressing. That is the way to, happy life. This is advancement. When they managed to convince us, there's a lot more we can discuss afterwards. But even the Vedas, when people study religion, I see with my children also, when they study world cultures in school, they're taught about world cultures. So when they talk about Hindu culture or India, who is telling you? It's not written by someone who's following Hindu culture, who's explaining about Hindu culture. From here, whatever they're seeing, whatever they're speculating, that's what they say. This is. And the books that were written about Hindu culture, who wrote them? Do you know? They were appointed by the British. So their way of presenting the Vedic culture is in a very derogatory way, in a way that, it seems very, how, that's why they gave the name mythology, myth. Myth means fantasy, it's an imagination. So as soon as you read, even Indians, right? And they wrote and they are given to us, they are fed to our children in school, to all of us. Why our children? Even we were fed the same thing in schools, right? So naturally, when we graduate from school, we don't have any respect or any honor for our own culture, right? We feel ashamed to take rice and dal in our lunch boxes to schools and colleges because we'll be looked down upon. But if we take a sandwich, we feel proud because now we are modern, isn't it? Rice we will eat, we'll hide and eat at home. We won't show others because it is primitive, it is old, it is backward. Who put all these thoughts in our head? This is Asura Vritti. We read from these lines of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Asura Pravritti. They want to destroy the Vedic culture. And when they succeed in convincing us that the Vedic culture is primitive, it is not practical, it cannot be done, then the enemy has actually succeeded. So, O king, we who are your adherents in all respects shall therefore kill the Vedic Brahmanas, the persons engaged in offering sacrifices and austerities, and the cows that supply milk, from which clarified butter is obtained for the ingredients of sacrifice. That's what we read in the last class. They want to kill the cows. I mean, this topic is not, there's not, you cannot stop talking about this topic. There's so much to be talked. How it's not just about killing the cows, to what extent the asuras can go. The cow is at the heart of a Vedic culture. Without the cow, you cannot have Vedic culture. Cow is our mother. We drink, mother sustains my body. When I'm in my mother's womb for 9 months, she is nourishing me, giving her own blood in the form of nourishment, right? She is nourishing my body. And after I'm born, she gives me her milk, her body's milk. Let's say up to 4 years, you drink your mother's milk. But who is feeding you milk for the rest of your life, for the remaining 96 years? It is mother cow. Such a mother we will kill now. This is Asura Pravritti. And how do we kill? In what torturous way they kill? It's not just, give some poison and kill. No. While the cow is alive, the cow is hung upside down with the legs. Whilst this is what is going on in the slaughterhouses. She's hung upside down with the legs tied up, and then boiling hot, steaming hot water is splashed on the body of the cow again and again, while to cook the flesh inside so that the skin becomes loose. And then the cow is still alive. That skin is pulled out, ripped off of the body. And with this skin, asuras make shoes, leather belts, bags. And then they think it's very advanced. You feel very happy wearing those bags because it becomes a sign of prestige. They take cow's fat, and with that fat, they make face creams, which makes you look young and beautiful. And they take pride in applying all those things on their bodies. And what to speak of eating the flesh of cows. This is Asura Pravritti. These are Asuras. So we are actually, it's going parallelly. The 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which we are reciting, and what we are reading in Bhagavatam, they're actually going hand in hand. It was not planned, certainly. I was actually going in sequence, but as it always happens in our classes, somehow, by the Lord's mercy, things all fall in place. So destroying the cows, right? Killing our mother. This is Asura Pravritti. We are your adherents, O king. We shall therefore kill the Vedic Brahmanas, the persons. And what is more important, what happens, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains about why they want to kill the cows. Among these, killing the Brahmana will bring about the end of religious culture. Why you want to kill the Brahmana? Because Brahmanas are the ones who are teaching us. The roadmap for us is the scripture. The Vedas are the guidelines that tell us how to advance in this life, what to do, what not to do, what are the dangers, what are the pitfalls. All these guidelines are given in the Vedas. Who is qualified to study the Vedas? Who studies and teaches the Vedas? It is the Brahmanas. Who worships, who performs the yagyas? The Brahmanas. They perform, a Brahmana worships for himself also, but he will worship for others, other classes of society. He will go and perform puja for others because he is qualified. So because of Brahmanas, the Brahmana is called the head of the society. Without the head, can anyone live without the head? You cannot live without the head. Can you live without arms? Yes. Without legs? Yes. But without head, can you live? You cannot live. So Brahmanas are the head. If you kill the head, then no more life. Everyone is dead. The society is finished. Now for the Brahmanas to do their yagya, what do they need? They need ghee. Yagyas are performed with ghee. Where does ghee come from? Comes from cow milk. So kill the cows, then yagyas will be stopped. Brahmanas, without yagyas, Brahmanas, they will starve and they will also die, right? Everyone, and without Brahmanas, the whole society will die. This is the plan of the Asuras. Now you can see why beef is so, important in places where there is no God consciousness. This is the plan of the Asura, how to kill Krishna consciousness. This is always, it's not just today. This is Asura Pravritti. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says there is two natures. It's not for Kali Yuga or for this Yuga or that Yuga. There are always two natures. One is Daiva Sampatti, Daivi Sampatti. The other one is Asura Sampatti. Right? The qualities of Asuras and the qualities of the divine qualities and demoniac qualities. Demoniac quality is remove Lord Vishnu from the picture. And in order to do that, Lord Vishnu lives where there is dharma. Remove dharma. No need to follow dharma. No Vedic dharma, no Varnashram system. This is bogus. This is not possible. Right? There's another myth. Oh, now in Kali Yuga, we can simply chant Hare Krishna, because that is the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You chant only Hare Krishna, then you don't have to follow any dharma. It is true. It's absolutely true. But that means you should only be chanting Hare Krishna, like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why we are reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Understand who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he's setting an example for devotees. While living here, how did he live? If you're following in his footsteps, day and night only chanting Hare Krishna, very good. And when he was a Grihastha, what was he doing? He was living by the Brahmana standard. Wasn't he? He was a Grihastha. He was a teacher. So, yes, the goal is to come to pure devotional service. But while we are not in pure devotional service, to say artificially that I'm a pure devotee, that is cheating. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping anyone else. Okay? So, dharma is essential. Vedic dharma is essential. Varnashram system is essential. Varnashram system is meant to bring us to pure devotional service only. That's the point. So, when anyone, regardless of how that person dresses, sometimes the person can even be dressed as a devotee. But if dressing as a devotee, if the person is completely rejecting dharma, Vedic dharma, thinking that this is not practical and this is, just forget this, you simply chant Hare Krishna, you'll be fine. Then are you actually chanting only Hare Krishna all day or not? You're still doing everything else. You're still engaging in sense gratification. You do so many things. but I don't want dharma because I'm a devotee. This doesn't work, isn't it? You should do, if you're saying you're a devotee, definition, anyabhilashita shunyam, jnana karmadhyanavritam, anukulyena krishnanushilanam. Do that bhakti. If you're not able to do that bhakti, fine. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, right? In the 12th chapter, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 verses. First is one who can simply 24 hours think about Krishna. Not for a moment your mind goes away from Krishna. That is topmost. Is it possible for everyone in our present condition? We are not doing that. Then, okay, no problem. If your mind is not 24 hours engaged, then second, step 2 is engage your external senses 24 hours in the service of the Lord. Either you're cooking for the Lord, you're worshipping the Lord, you're cleaning the temple, you're doing book distribution, making garlands. With your mouth, you're chanting Hare Krishna, you're hearing lectures. Very good. If you're not able to, if your mind is not able to be absorbed with your senses, external senses, you engage. Are you doing that? No, I'm not doing that. Krishna says, no problem. Then next, step 3, Krishna says, if you're not able to do direct devotional service 24 hours, then Krishna gives an option. You work. You do some work. Karma means, see, there's a difference between karma and direct devotional service. Direct devotional service means Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam, and there are further other limbs also. Directly, those activities which connect you directly with the Supreme Lord, that is direct devotional service. It is also called Sakshat Bhakti. Sakshat Bhakti or Swarupa Siddha Bhakti. Swarupa Siddha Bhakti means inherently it is bhakti, regardless of the consciousness of the performer. You understand? For example, chanting Hare Krishna. You may not know what is Hare Krishna or any names of the Lord, just chanting the names of the Lord. You may not know the meaning, you may not know the language, you may not even intend to call the Lord. But you heard someone and you just say Hare Krishna. You know that story? That one Muslim person, he was in the jungle once and he was attacked by a wild boar. So in Muslim faith, pigs are considered to be very, abominable. They don't even want to look at pigs. That's why they don't eat pig meat. Pork, they don't eat. So he was attacked by a wild boar. Pigs, wild pigs, they attack you. They have horns also. So a wild pig attacked him and he was completely disgusted that a pig is attacking him. And and the pig actually killed him. So at the time of death, he was, out of disgust, such a abominable thing is killing me. He said, haram, haram. So in Islam, haram means the most abominable, condemned thing. So he's saying haram, haram, and he died. He was not calling the Supreme Lord, but haram is accepted as ha, Ram, oh my dear Lord Ram, and he got benefit of that. This is called Sakshat Bhakti. Sakshat Bhakti means you don't have to know what it means. You don't have the intention, but in and itself, that activity it is bhakti in and itself, regardless of the qualification of the performer. When one engages in Sakshat Bhakti, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, all his life, like that, continuously is engaged in Sakshat Bhakti, that is called Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotional service. Now, I'm not able to do Sakshat Bhakti throughout the day. I do for 2 hours in the morning, I chant my japa, and during the day, I worship the deity, I do arti, I cook for the Lord, I offer to the Lord, and I do some service at the temple. Sometimes I make garlands, sometimes I give classes on Bhagavad Gita, I read my Shastra. All this is Sakshat Bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, this is Sakshat Bhakti. So when you're doing Sakshat Bhakti, you are directly in touch with the Lord. But that has to be continuous. Jnana karmadi anavritam. Avritam means being covered. Anavritam means uncovered. That means even though you're doing karma, now what is karma? Karma is activities which are done which is not Sakshat Bhakti. Why I'm telling you about Sakshat Bhakti? To tell you the difference between karma and Sakshat Bhakti. You may say that I'm working, and after working, I get that money. All that money I'm using to run my family so that they can practice Krishna consciousness, and I worship the deity at home. I give some donation at the temple. That's very good. Let's say you give 100% of your money also to Krishna. You work, and all that money you are spending directly in Krishna's service. But while you are working, see this definition that Srila Rupa Goswami gave, Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhyanavritam Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam Bhaktiruttama. He didn't give it just like that. It's very, very, he covers every detail, every possibility falls into that. So if you're doing work, while doing work, either through your, because Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam is said, right? Shilanam means cheshta, activity. Favorably, you're doing some activity in Krishna service. But what is that activity? Karma is also activity, bhakti is also activity. What is the difference between karma and bhakti? Bhakti means that activity where your mind, or it's not all three, it's either or, okay? Either your mind or your body or your words are doing Sakshat Bhakti. Sakshat Bhakti means coming directly in touch with the Lord. So with your mind, if you're remembering the darshan of the Lord, right? You're always remembering the lotus feet of the Lord. Then that is Sakshat Bhakti. So in your mind, if you are always, you're seeing the picture of the lotus feet of the Lord or the beautiful smiling face of the Lord, and with your mouth you're talking and with your hands you're working, no problem. Because your work is not covering your bhakti. You understand? Your bhakti is like a continuous line. It is not interrupted by either karma or jnana. You know what is jnana? Jnana means tat padartha jnana, tvam padartha jnana, and aikya jnana. Tvam padartha jnana means I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. Tat padartha jnana means the absolute truth is Brahman. Aikya jnana means I, the soul, and that Brahman are one. Who has this knowledge? The Gyanis, the impersonalists. They have this knowledge. That is their sadhana. Ultimately, to go and merge into Brahman, this is their sadhana. In various stages, they get first Tvam Padartha Jnana, then Tat Padartha Jnana, and ultimately Aikya Jnana. Now, while you're doing bhakti, what is bhakti? Bhakti means seva. Anukulyana is said. You're doing in a favorable way. To please the Lord, you're doing bhakti. You're rendering service with what? With your body, mind, and words. Either with your mouth, you're chanting the Lord's names or glorifying the Lord, telling the Lord's pastimes, chanting his, like we recited Bhagavad Gita, recite the prayers from Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahma Samhita, you're reciting with your mouth. With your mouth, you're eating Krishna Prasad also. That's also direct devotional service. Because prasadam, it's something which is, it's not different from the Lord. The Lord has tasted it. You're coming in direct touch with the Lord. So with your mouth, you can either be tasting Krishna Prasad or you can be chanting Krishna's names. And with your mind, you can remember whatever you have heard from, you read from Bhagavatam or you heard from Bhagavatam, you're remembering, you're recollecting with your intelligence also. With your intelligence also, you're understanding how this is connected. So you're engaging your mind and your intelligence in devotional service. That is, then you're in touch with the Lord directly. And with your hands, so many services you can do with your hands, direct devotional services. This is called Shilanam, activity directly in touch with the Lord for the sake of pleasing the Lord. This is Shilanam. Okay. Now this bhakti activity is different from karma. What is karma? Karma means activity that you do based on the nature that you have acquired. What is the nature that you have acquired? Based on in your past life, how you have the decisions that you have made under the influence of the modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the activities which you have done means actually the activities are done by the body only. Body means there's gross and subtle bodies. So actually activities are done by Prakriti. But Ahankara is making me think that I am doing it all. So because of that Ahankara, I was thinking that I did all those activities and I acquired a particular nature. So according to that nature, now I will be doing again. I will be doing means I will be identifying that I am a Brahmana and these are my duties. I should do this type of work. Even Varnashrama Dharma, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra duties, these are the activities of the body only. They don't belong to the soul. What is soul's activity? Soul's activity is to serve Krishna. Soul's activity is to render direct devotional service to Krishna. That is soul's activity. Body's activity is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But am I on the soul's platform already? Am I actually constantly at every moment seeing myself as a soul? And not just as a soul, but as a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? If I'm Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam Tatparatvena Nirmalam, Sarva Upadi Vinirmuktam, becoming free from all types of bodily designations. Unless you come to that stage, you cannot be rendering pure devotional service. So, this Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam means with my body, mind, and words, I am engaging in direct devotional service. And that is not all. Anyabhilashita Shunyam. You can be doing this direct devotional service. Can you see how many possibilities there are? You can be doing direct devotional service 24 hours, but you can be doing them with some other desire. I will do this so that I will go to Vaikuntha and I'll get liberation, or I will get opulences like the Lord, or I'll become the president. You're doing direct devotional service, but your desire is what? You want some result from that. Even up to wanting liberation. That's not pure devotional service. You must do 24 hours, either with your body, mind, or words, Sakshat Bhakti. And while doing that, you should not expect anything in return, save and except pleasing Krishna. You should do this because I am a servant of Krishna. My constitutional position is to serve Krishna. And then, but I have this body, I need to eat food, otherwise my body will starve. I have a wife and children, who will feed them? I need a house, I have to pay bills. If I don't pay bills, we will all be on the street. I have to do some work, right? Do your work if you feel like that. Actually, a pure devotee doesn't even, if one is a pure devotee, he doesn't even think like that. Because Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yoga kshemam vahamyaham. Whatever is needed for him, I will carry personally. Krishna is assuring in Bhagavad Gita. Is Krishna lying? But to whom he will do? Ananyas chintayantoma. Ananya. 24 hours constantly he's thinking about the Supreme Lord, rendering engaged in direct devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Krishna says, I will carry what he need. But still we don't have that faith. Then if I don't have that faith, yet means I'm not a pure devotee. At least we should be honest and admit I'm not a pure devotee, isn't it? Then you should understand, if I'm not a pure devotee, if I don't fall in that category of pure devotee, now I cannot take all the liberties that are given to a pure devotee. When you are a pure devotee, then you don't have to do any dharma. No need. No need of any dharma. Because you have already transcended the bodily platform. You don't feel that you have to work, you have to maintain yourself, you have to maintain your body. You will have full faith in Krishna's words. I will personally give whatever you need, what your children need. Your daughter is not married, I will get her married. We have examples of devotees like that. Krishna personally arranges for the weddings of devotees. In Gujarat, there was one devotee. His daughter's marriage, Krishna arranged for it. Narsi Bhag. So, Krishna does it. Narsi Mehta, okay. But do we have that faith now? We don't have, right? So, if I don't have that type of faith, how I can imitate that devotee and say that I don't have to do any dharma, I don't need to do any dharma because I'm a devotee? You understand? So the point is, This is pure devotional service. This is the definition. You have to do Sakshat Bhakti. But as I was telling you in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is not saying if you're not a pure devotee, you're finished. No. Krishna gives an opportunity to everyone wherever you are situated. If you're not on the level of, on level 1, where 24 hours your mind, that is a devotee in Asakti. Asakti stage. Or let's say, mind, especially the mind, right? Mind is automatically being pulled to Krishna. You have to pull your mind away from Krishna to do, it's like you're in meditation and somebody calls you, let's say, right? And then you have to force yourself out of your meditation and then respond. But as soon as that is over, mind automatically goes back to Krishna. That is the position of that number 1. Mind is continuously meditating on Krishna. It won't go away anywhere. You don't have to force the mind to come to Krishna. You have to force to pull your mind away from Krishna to take care of duties in this world. That is number 1 position. And then Krishna says that is the best. If that is not possible, then he says next is, second level is, you engage all your senses, external senses, because fixing the mind is not an easy thing. But physically you can try, right? Turn on a lecture and try to hear that lecture. Take your beads, or even without your beads, just with your mouth, you can chant Hare Krishna all the time. While you're driving, while you're working, you can chant all the time. We have examples. Bharat Maharaj, the son of Rishabdev, he was constantly chanting Hare Krishna. Even in his sleep, he was chanting the names of the Lord. Day and night, 24 hours. He's a king, he's an emperor. Bharat, the word Bharat, right, comes from where? From Bharat Maharaj. He was such a great devotee. And as a king, he had to do his responsibilities. He would do yagyas, big yagyas. But at all that time, his bhakti was never covered by jnana or karma. That is to be noted. Jnana, karma, dhyanavritam means even though you're doing activities in this world, those activities will not interrupt your bhakti even for the fraction of a second. Either with your mind, body, or words, your connection with Krishna is not lost even for a single moment. Your hands are doing something, but your mind is meditating on Krishna. Your lips are chanting Krishna's names. He cannot stop. So this is a very high level compared to us, certainly, of bhakti, isn't it? Where the mind is constantly, and if not the mind, then the senses, right? Through your external senses, you're constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. That is step 2. That is also very high. That is Nishta. So we came one step, we came down from Asakti. Before that is Ruchi Nishta. Nishta means continuously you're engaged. It doesn't say your mind, but one way or the other, you're constantly engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. That is Nishta. When does Nishta come? After Anartha Nivritti. And before Anartha Nivritti, what happens? Before Anartha Nivritti, also you're a pure devotee. That means you're not continuously engaged, but your endeavor is there. Continuously you're endeavoring. You're trying. But because of your anarthas, you're being pulled down. And even when you're being pulled down to engage in some activity, in your heart, you're repenting. I'm such a sinful person. I'm supposed to render devotional service to the Lord. Instead of that, I'm eating this, or I'm watching this, or I'm doing this activity. I'm engaging in, even up to, like committing, like basically what that is taking sense enjoyment. Because a pure devotee, why he will go for sense enjoyment? But because of past activities, because of those anarthas, sometimes he falls off from that. Falls off meaning he will be engaged in some sense gratification. But even then you call him a pure devotee. The condition has to still be satisfied. Continuously he should be in devotional service, right? So if he's falling off, how you'll call him a pure devotee? Because even in that fallen state, when he is not doing devotional service, when he's enjoying his senses, but by the way, this enjoyment of senses cannot be sinful. He will not do sinful activity. But, like enjoying some rasgullas, gulab jamun, and wanting to eat more. That type of sense gratification. For his own sense pleasure. He's enjoying it, so he's doing it. Or anything like that. So if he's doing something like that, or let's say he buys something from outside and he's eating, which is not prasadam. Yeah, that's not devotional service, but it's some sense gratification he's buying. But while eating and so-called enjoying, he's repenting in his heart. I'm such a fallen devotee. I cannot give up my, you know, and that repentance keeps him in touch with Krishna. So he's still on the platform of Krishna consciousness. Not for a moment he will lose touch with Krishna consciousness, even when he is during the Anartha Nivritti stage. His endeavor is constantly to come to be Krishna conscious. At every moment, every fraction of a second, he's endeavoring to be Krishna conscious. This is the standard of pure devotional service. Now, are we in this standard? We would like to be. That's my aspiration. Then what does Krishna say? If you're not in this standard, this one is step 2. What I told you just now is step 2. Then Krishna gives step 3, one step down. If you're not able to do that, then he says you do your dharma. You do your dharma, work, and whatever result you get, you offer it all to me. You work, obviously you cannot do sinful work. You cannot do vikarma. You should only do that work which is prescribed by Shastra. That is only dharma. Any work you do and that is my dharma, that is karma. No, it is not. There is karma and vikarma. Then why Krishna is talking about vikarma in Bhagavad Gita? Why he is talking about vikarma is not sin. Sin is different, right? Vikarma means activities which are not enjoined in Shastra, which are not given, which are not recommended in Shastra, right? That is vikarma. And of course, there is sinful activities. Certainly, you shouldn't do sinful activities. But what Krishna is saying is you do karma. Karma means, now how to do karma? Krishna says, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashaha. I divided the society into 4 based on guna and karma, not based on birth. Not based on birth. What is the value of birth? You take birth in a particular varna, so-called, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, whatever you are taking birth in that family. Are you actually living by that dharma? What is Vaishya dharma? The other day on Govardhan Puja day, we saw Krishna says to Nanda Maharaj, Vaishya has 4 types of duties. Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijam, and 4th one is banking. Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam. Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, both Krishna speaking about the duties of Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. This is dharma. So you can take any one of those. You can do agriculture, or you can do trade, or you can, and what is trade? Trade is not investing in stock market and getting, so many times more money, or this real estate business. This is not trade. Real estate business is so bad, do you know? Don't ever get involved in that. Buying and selling land and property. This is very, very sinful. It goes against Krishna consciousness. Earth is our mother. Like cow is our mother, earth is our mother. Mother nourishes my body by feeding me her body's milk, and then later on by feeding. If somebody thinks that, oh, I can make more money with my mother by engaging her in prostitution, I will sell her to other men. And when they enjoy her, they will give me money. With that, I will become a rich person. This is real estate business. Earth is not meant for that. Everything is the Lord's property. Everything must be engaged in the service of the Lord. Lakshmi Devi is to be engaged in the Lord's service. She should not be taken for my sense gratification. When I do that, then that is Ravana's mentality, Asura's mentality. That is not a devotee's mentality. But because of this Asura pravritti and Asura leaders in society, even devotees unfortunately are getting caught up. And they're thinking, because if there are 100 people, if 99 people are doing the same, we think this is the right thing to do. I have to do what everyone else is doing. then you will also go to hell like everyone else. Don't think that, oh, I will be saved because I'm a devotee. If you're a devotee, you act like a devotee. Then understand who is a devotee from Shastra, how a devotee should live, what his activities should be, what his consciousness should be, what his goals in life should be. You understand from Shastra, understand from examples of the previous devotees, exalted devotees, and then mold your life according to that. Then you are a devotee, then you are protected by the Lord, no doubt. But if you are following Asura Pravritti under the influence of Asuras, and still if you're claiming to be a devotee and thinking that you will be saved, you are being like an ostrich that digs its head in the sand and thinks that now I'm out of danger. You are not out of danger. Jaisa sang, vaisa rang, it is said. The type of association I have, that's the color I will get also. I will have. You cannot go inside a room which is completely, you know, kajal ki kotri, they say, right? This mascara, the black ointment you apply in your eye, kajal. If you paint the whole room with that and you're living in that room, can you save yourself from that? It will get on your body. So if you're associating with asuras, then their qualities will be rubbed on to us also. Unless who is qualified to go and be amongst asuras? Somebody like Prahlad Maharaj, who is or Haridas Thakur, right? 24/7, they're completely in Krishna conscious. There's no gap in between where Maya can penetrate. And even such devotees, what do they pray? What does Prahlad Maharaj pray from Nrsimhadev? My Lord, please, my only prayer is I want to be in the association of devotees. We get strength in the association of devotees. And when we are not in the association of devotees, and on top of that, when we are surrounded by asuras, what will happen? So, this is asuras. They want to kill devotee association, separate us from the devotee association, separate us from dharma. So, why we are discussing all this? Because dharma came. Dharma is essential. Don't think that I don't need dharma. I will simply chant and I will become fine. No. Because the fact is, I'm not chanting like Haridas Thakur. I need to do dharma. Then dharma, what type of dharma I should do? Dharma which is prescribed in Shastra. Why? Because that dharma is firstly, dharma is prescribed because I already have my own nature. I have a nature that I have acquired based on my past activities. I have a swabhava. Swabhava means your nature. According to that swabhava, first of all, your swabhava is identified. When your swabhava is identified, then as per that swabhava, your duties are prescribed to you. Now you should hold on to your duties and do them, not to make economic development, not to become famous or well known in this society. That's not the purpose of doing your dharma. The purpose of doing your dharma, which is prescribed to you based on your swabhava, the dharma which is prescribed to you, what is the purpose of doing that dharma? Is to come out of dharma ultimately. Really. So for that, how should you do your dharma? You should continuously keep doing it in spite of pain, pleasure, happiness, distress, victory, defeat. Continue doing your dharma under all circumstances. Tolerate the reversals that come in the course of your dharma, carrying out your dharma. And by that tolerance and whatever result, certainly when you do an activity, you will get result. Any type of activity you do, there will be some result. Whatever result you get by doing your dharma, you give it all to Krishna. Offer all the result to Krishna. And third point, don't consider yourself to be the doer of that activity. These 3 points are important. Tolerate the difficulties that, first of all, you have to do your dharma. Don't give up because of happiness. Later on, Krishna says, right? What is work in mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance? Krishna explains. Work in goodness is what I'm telling you just now. Continue your work. Again, what type of work is important? Do your dharma under all circumstances. Even if there is loss, even if there is criticism, even if there is defeat, even if it is death. Yes. If you're a Kshatriya, you're fighting on a battlefield. If there is a chance that you may be killed by the enemy, and if you didn't do your dharma, you'll save yourself. Should you leave your dharma, or should you fight? You should fight. Because Kshatriya's dharma is to fight for dharma. So he will fight and he will die, taking the arrows on his chest from the front. Not that while running away from the battlefield, he'll take arrows on his back. No. So dharma means even up to the point of death, I'll die. But why it is said, if you do this, why you're willing to even die? That will raise you to the platform of soul, because you will realize, I'm not this body. I'm eternal soul. Even if I give up this body, I will get a better body in my next life. That is the purpose of dharma, to lift you above your bodily consciousness. But if you give up your dharma, then Krishna says, what is work in passion and ignorance? When you give up your work out of fear, oh, it is very difficult, right? I cannot do. Or let's say fear of life also for a Kshatriya. Huh? You become scared and then you give up your dharma. That is work in the mode of passion. That means at some point you're giving it up. You're not doing it consistently. You're not tolerating the pains and pleasures. As long as everything is nice, about devotees, sometimes they say sunshine devotees. Sunshine devotees means I'm a devotee as long as everything is nice and wonderful, I'm having fun. And when it is difficult, when there is austerity, I cannot do. So we shouldn't do dharma like that. That when there is happiness, I will do. When there is distress, now I won't do my dharma. That is called work in the mode of passion. And work in the mode of ignorance means you give it up out of illusion. You don't even know that this is to be done, this is not to be done. You just give it up out of illusion. Moha. Moha. Right? Illusion. Either family illusion or whatever illusion, you just give up your dharma. So this is in ignorance. So when you do work in the modes of passion and ignorance, what is the result? The result is you will remain in the bodily consciousness. You will never rise above the bodily consciousness. That means if you're in bodily consciousness, you have to take birth in another body. No question about that. And again, you'll be taking birth in the body. But when you come to the mode of goodness, which is Nishkama Karma Yoga, as I told you, you work continuously, tolerate the difficulties that come. This is applicable in any field, in marriage also. In marriage also. There is difficulties, there is arguments, whatever, but you stick with your partner. You continue your dharma. As a husband, you continue your dharma of maintaining the family. And as a wife, you continue your dharma as serving the family. Continue. By doing that, that's why they're all dharmas given in Shastra. When you do this dharma, the difficulty is you cannot stop. Bodily consciousness means counteracting. We also read this in Srimad Bhagavatam a few days ago. Vasudeva is telling Kamsa, right? Somebody who is in bodily consciousness, who's under the influence of false ego, what he will do? All his time goes in counteracting the difficulties and acquiring the pleasures. Bas, all day, all time is spent planning. How much more I can get? We read even in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Asura's nature is, this much I got now and I will multiply it, right? Now I have this much, I'll get so much more next. I have defeated this enemy, I'm going to kill my other enemies. And then I'm going to do yagyas and I'll give charity and I will be very happy like this. This is Asura's mentality. Accumulating, planning, and I'll do this and that. This is all Asura's mentality. It is not at all conducive to Krishna consciousness. It will not help in Krishna consciousness. It will keep you in the bodily consciousness. You want to rise above the bodily consciousness? Do your dharma. Do your dharma, tolerate. Tolerate the reversals that are coming, but don't give up your dharma. And the result that is coming, you give all the result to Krishna. And the third one is, don't consider yourself to be the doer, because you are really not the doer. You are just a spirit soul. Who is doing all this? The body is doing, the mind is doing, the intelligence is doing, Ahankara is doing. All this is part of Prakriti. Prakriti is doing everything. You're simply, like a, like a apt example. You're a passenger in the car. The driver is driving, there is engine, there is car, there is petrol, all this is happening. And you're just sitting there in the back, thinking that you are driving and you are going here and you're doing that. Actually, you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything there. So therefore, whether you get success, don't become puffed up that I did such a wonderful thing. I achieved so much. I impressed so many people. No, you didn't do anything. And if you have to, if you're humiliated, if you are, or if you fail, utterly fail in an exam, or, in giving a class, you give a terrible class, right? Whatever it is, then don't be disappointed. Don't be depressed. Oh, I didn't do a good job because I'm not the doer anyway, right? Tolerate it. Tolerate. Why you're feeling pain then? If you're not doing, why you're feeling pain? Because I am covered by avidya, and because of which now I am covered by ahankara. Ahankara makes me think that I am this body. So I have not realized that I'm not this body yet. But from Shastra, I understand this is what it is. So that is why what we need is faith in Shastra. Based on that faith, I accept, even though I don't have the realization, I accept that yes, I'm not doing it. So I should not become affected by success or failure, by honor and dishonor. Tulya nindastutir mauni, Krishna says, right? This is what Bhagavad Gita is teaching us. Tolerate, tolerate praise, tolerate insult. But what is the goal? By doing all this, the goal is not some material success. No. The goal is not to get a higher material position or to get recognition from the world, or to be known as a good person in your family or in the world, or to become famous, or to no, 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 no. The goal is, when you tolerate, it will lift you above the bodily consciousness, brings you to the platform of the soul. That's the purpose of dharma. Now, why we should do dharma as devotees? Our goal is to remember Krishna all the time. What will happen if we do this type of work? So again, you think, why we are even working? Because we are not qualified for the first two. I am not qualified to think of Krishna 24 hours. I am not qualified to engage in sakshat bhakti, direct devotional service 24 hours. Then what should I do? Krishna gave me third step. You do dharma. But this should be the quality of your dharma. Because, varnashram, there are other types of varnashram also. There is varnashram, karmi varnashram. There is impersonal varnashram. We are not interested in that type of varnashram, where you follow your duties as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, so that you will get lot of prosperity and you will live comfortably or you will go to heaven. No. Not that by following my varnashrama, I will realize I am a soul and ultimately I will realize Brahman and I will go and merge into Brahman. No. I'll follow Varnashrama so that finally I will go to Vaikuntha. I will get a body like Lord Vishnu. I'll get opulences like Lord Vishnu. No more birth, death, and I will live comfortably, eternally in Vaikuntha. No. Then why I should follow Varnashrama? By following Varnashrama Dharma, I will come to the mode of goodness. Being in the, and Varnashram, Daiva Varnashram means it's not just, you're surrounded by devotees. It's also giving you devotee association. It's giving you devotee association. And all the work that you will be doing will be according to the work which is prescribed in the Shastras. In the devotee association, what will you do? You'll be discussing Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, like we are doing now. So while you're farming, your neighbors will also be devotees. While you're grinding flour, ladies coming together, they will be singing Damodar Ashtakam and talking about Krishna's pastimes. While milking the cows, or while, making pots for cooking. Every activity that you will be doing, you'll be surrounded by devotees. That will be like Vrindavan. You will be discussing Krishna Katha with each other. And you're living a lifestyle which is actually prescribed by the Shastra. So isn't it natural to move towards pure devotional service very easily in such an atmosphere. Life is so simple. And all the work that you do, you offer it to the Lord. The center of a community will be the temple of the Lord. So whatever you grow, whatever you produce, you bring it to the Lord. All your work, you offer to the Lord. There will be a Gurukul where your children will study only those subjects which are conducive to pure devotional service. They are not forced to study all types of nonsense about, what is that? Shakespeare and Romeo and Juliet and all these things. No need. Why you have to study all these things? What's the need? So, Dharma. This is Dharma. When you do this type of Dharma and offer the result. So, the third step Krishna gave is if you're not able to do direct devotional service all day, then you do Dharma. And while doing that Dharma also, your endeavor is side by side, you'll be chanting Hare Krishna. So your goal of this doing Dharma is to eventually come to step 2 and then to step 1. Why I'm in step 3? Because I'm still not able to be there in step 2. That's why I will be doing step 3. And eventually, when I come to, while doing my Dharma, if I'm also chanting. So my Shraddha is increasing, isn't it? In the association, I'm hearing Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, my faith is increasing in bhakti. And as my faith is increasing, what I will do? I will be reducing my karma. That means even while doing work, I am chanting Krishna's name. That karma is not covering my Krishna consciousness. I'll be thinking of Krishna. So soon I will come to the platform. I will not even know when and how, but in that living that lifestyle in the association of devotees, soon I will come to the platform of 24 hours thinking about Krishna or engaging in direct devotional service of Krishna. And in that consciousness, when I give up this body, where will I be? Where will I be? I will be in Krishna Loka. I'll close my eyes here and I'll open my eyes and I will be in Krishna Loka. Doesn't this make sense? Instead of thinking that I will be working, I will be driving a truck or I will be working in a factory or in a big office in front of laptops and, all this, I'm doing this work and then I will die and I will chant some, 16 rounds somehow while going to work in the car on the way going and on the way back or, while talking and while doing something on the computer, I'm chanting Hare Krishna. I finish and then at the time of death, automatically I will go to Golok Vrindavan Dham. I will be surrounded by Gopas and Gopis. How do you think? It's your consciousness, Krishna consciousness. Where is your consciousness now? Your consciousness has to be changed. That consciousness will take you to Krishna Loka, to Goloka. So build your consciousness. Even though right now we may be in a situation where we are surrounded by the modes of passion and ignorance, you create your little bubble of Krishna consciousness inside this and you try to move towards the mode of goodness. Plan for the future. Don't become satisfied living in this situation and thinking that from here I'm going to go to Goloka. What are the activities of Goloka? Cows, cow dung, huh? All that. Fields. Where is that here? Whatever little land is there, everything I see here, right? It's being converted. More and more buildings are getting constructed. Concrete jungles. So, Asura Pravritti means they want to destroy. They want to destroy this Vedic culture. Kill the cows. Finish land. You see in India? Do you see any agricultural fields in cities? No. More and more, because of this real estate business, buildings, more and more buildings are coming now. Where is land? Where is agriculture? Where is gardens? Little bit of land is there. They'll build, one room, but skyscraper building they'll build in that and make more money. This is very sad, but it's like Bhumi Devi, she's the mother, engaging her in prostitution. That is what it is, this business. Anyway, I'll just wind up. We didn't cover much today. Actually, we didn't cover anything. O king, we who are your adherents in all respects shall therefore kill the Vedic Brahmanas, the persons engaged in offering sacrifices and austerities, and the cows that supply milk, from which clarified butter is obtained for the ingredients of sacrifice. I'll just quickly read the next verses so that we would have covered something. Vipragavascha vedascha tapah satyam damah shamaha shraddha dayati tiksha cha kratavascha harestanuhu. The Brahmanas, the cows, Vedic knowledge, austerity, truthfulness, control of the mind and senses, faith, mercy, tolerance, and sacrifice are the different parts of the body of Lord Vishnu, and they are the paraphernalia for a godly civilization. Okay? Brahmanas, cows, Vedic knowledge, austerity, truthfulness, control of the mind and senses. Where is this taught today? Control of mind and senses? Faith, mercy, tolerance, and sacrifice are the different parts of the body of Lord Vishnu, and they are the paraphernalia for a godly civilization. Purport. When we offer our obeisances to the personality of Godhead, we say, Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha, Jagad Hitaya Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. When Krishna comes to establish real perfection in the social order, he personally gives protection to the cows and the Brahmanas. Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. This is his first interest, because without protection of the Brahmanas and the cows, there can be no human civilization and no question of happy, peaceful life. Asuras, therefore, are always interested in killing the Brahmanas and cows. Easily in this age, Kali Yuga, cows are being killed all over the world. And as soon as there is a movement to establish Brahminical civilization, pay attention. As soon as there is a movement to establish Brahminical civilization, people in general rebel. Yes, it's not easy. When you try to talk about Varnashrama system, people won't accept it. They will rebel against it. It's not accepted easily. But just because some people are, or most people are fighting against it, should we give it up? Who are you faithful to? You're faithful to your acharyas, you're faithful to Krishna, or you're faithful to popular vote, who is nothing but asuras. Majority of the people are asuras. You want to be faithful to them. You want to be, good in their eyes. Or you want to be, you want to please the Lord. What the Lord wants is clear. Again and again it is coming here. So, asuras, therefore, are always interested in killing the Brahmanas and cows, especially in this age, Kali Yuga. Cows are being killed all over the world. And as soon as there is a movement to establish Brahminical civilization, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by establishing Brahminical civilization? People in general rebel. Thus, they regard the Krishna consciousness movement as a form of brainwashing. How can such envious persons be happy in their godless civilization? The Supreme Personality of Godhead punishes them by keeping them. And what will happen to such people? Regardless of who you pose to be as a great leader or whoever. But if this is your mentality, you want to suppress Brahminical culture, a Vedic society, Varnashram system, Daiva Varnashram system, if you're trying to suppress, the Supreme Personality of Godhead punishes them by keeping them in darkness, birth after birth, and pushing them lower and lower into wretched conditions of hellish life. Srila Prabhupada is writing this. If I'm calling myself a follower of Srila Prabhupada, how can I ignore these points? Tell me. How can we ignore? If I'm a follower of Srila Prabhupada, how can I ignore his points? This is his purport. They regard the Krishna consciousness movement as a form of brainwashing. How can such envious persons be happy in their godless civilization? The Supreme Personality of Godhead punishes them by keeping them in darkness birth after birth and pushing them lower and lower into wretched conditions of hellish life. Isn't this what we read in the 16th chapter this morning? What does Krishna do to them? He pushes them into lower species, asura births, life after life, and they will live in hellish condition. The Krishna consciousness movement has started a Brahminical civilization, but especially when it is introduced in the Western countries, The asuras try to impede it in many ways. Nonetheless, we must push forward this movement tolerantly for the benefit of human society. So that is our attempt. We should push forward this movement because that is Krishna's way of life. That's what our Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us, and that's what our acharyas have taught us. Srila Prabhupada came to give it to us. I will stop here. Does anyone have any questions or comments quickly? And I will end. No, thank you.
Very nice, Mataji. Actually, I always used to think this thing that because my brother is disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, so he also pushes this one ashram system. So I have heard from my brother a lot about that, and I used to think that why not many devotees are, because certainly, as you said, that it will become very natural and easy to practice pure devotional service in that kind of environment.
Yes.
Once I asked from some devotee, and then they just sarcastically commented, "Okay, why don't you start? Go to this place and start it." And I was like, "Okay, fine." I mean, I just asked that question just like that only,
Yes.
that why don't many devotees just start this thing? They should start live like that, because every day it's a struggle. When I used to do job, then definitely you don't get that kind of consciousness in chanting and studying and all that kind of stuff. It's a kind of struggle. So yeah, it's very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, it is actually, unfortunately, it is not only is it not encouraged, but also it is deliberately suppressed, deliberately. And
yes, Mataji.
That is asura pravritti, suppressing it, because that is the heart. That's where the Lord is, as we read from the words of Srimad Bhagavatam. So if I am personally not able to do it, it's okay to stand on the sidelines, but to actually suppress it, that is sinful. That is really going against the Lord's desire. Then we will have to bear the consequence. If I'm not able to do it, because you may think that I don't have the capacity, I cannot do it, I'll just stand. That's okay. But to actually come and preach against it, or to ridicule it, to put it down, that's not right. It's not correct at all. And the Lord is not happy with that. Thank you for that, Mataji. Narsimha Praladesha Prabhu.
I just wanted to thank you, Mataji, because today's lesson is very heavy for me. I have to hear the recordings again and then come up with questions.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we will end here. Thank you all, dear devotees. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai.
Jai.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.